Good afternoon, everyone. Today we will be conducting the pre-bid conference for civil works projects with contract ID 24GE0053 and 24GE0054. To start with, please all stand for a prayer.
And for attendees, we have here our back chairperson, Engineer May Tabiano. And for our back members, we have Engineer Elidura Zulia, Engineer Erin Amboy, and Miss Joy Duspar. And for our back TWG, we have Engineer Adrian Von Villarreal, Miss Gail Candice Cañete, Engineer Rona Ortiz, Engineer Lea Joy Galindo, and Engineer Giovanni Servano. And also have our back secretariat members. We have Miss Cherry Nesca and Miss Ebony Gallio. And we have representative from Planning and Design Section, Engineer Marinel Rosero and Miss Bona Bea, Miss Bona Bea Pilia. And we have representative from Pesom Construction Services. We have Alexis Season and Maricel Hagono. That's our back chairperson.
Contract ID 24GE0053. Contract name of Carriageway Improvement of Intersections, Guimaras Circumferential Road, S00028GR, kilometer 0 plus negative 388. Location, Hordan, Guimaras, with an ABC of 24,430,000. Source of fund, FY 2024 GAA. Contract duration, 205 calendar days. Cost of bidding documents, 25,000 pesos. The scope of works for 24GE0053. Part B, other general requirements. Part C, earthworks. Part D, sub-base and base course. Part E, service courses. Part F, bridge construction. Part H, miscellaneous structures. The required pickup license for 24GE0053 are as follows. Size range, medium A. License category B, single largest project above 10 million up to 100 million pesos. Allowable range of contract cost up to 100 million pesos. Major categories of works for 24GE0053. RCP roads, construction, PCCP. Similar categories of works. RRP roads, rehabilitation, PCCP. RCTP roads, construction, tunnel, PCCP. Qualifiers must have completed the construction and reblocking including base course covering 50% of the item of work of the project. May include airport runways, taxiways, and aprons. Contract ID 24GE0054. Contract name, construction of multipurpose building, academic building, Mosqueda Campus, Guimaras State University, Alagiso, Jordan, Guimaras. Location, Alagiso, Jordan, Guimaras, with an APC of 29,700,000 pesos. Source of fund FY 2024 GAA. Contract duration 140 calendar days. Cost of bidding documents 25,000 pesos. The scope of works for 24 Chile 0054. Part B, other general requirements. Part C, earthworks. Part D, reinforced works. Part E, finishing and other civil works. Part F, plumbing works. Part G, electrical works. Part H, mechanical works. The required pickup license for 24 GE 0054 are as follows. Size range, medium A. License category B, single largest project above 10 million up to 100 million. Allowable range of contract cost up to 100 million. Major categories of works for 24 GE 0054. Buildings, construction without piles, low-rise concrete frame, 1 to 5 stories. Similar categories of works. Buildings, construction with piles, high-rise concrete frame, cast-in-place piles. Buildings, construction with piles, low-rise concrete frame, cast-in-place piles. Buildings, construction with piles, high-rise concrete frame, driven piles. Buildings, construction with piles, low-rise concrete frame, driven piles. Buildings, construction without piles, high-rise concrete frame. Buildings, industrial plant, low-rise. Buildings, industrial plant, high-rise. Buildings, industrial plant, medium-rise. General conditions of the contract. Notes on the general conditions of contract. The general conditions of contract in this section read in conjunction with the special conditions of contract and section 5 and other documents listed therein. Should be a complete document expressing all the rights and obligations of the parties. Matters governing performance of the contractor, payment under the contract, or matters affecting the risk, rights, and obligations of the parties under the contract are included in the GCC and special conditions of contract. Any complementary information which may be needed shall be introduced only through the special conditions of contract.
Scope of contract. The contract shall include all such items, although not specifically mentioned, that can be reasonably inferred as being required to its completion, as if such item were expressly mentioned herein. All the provision of RA number 9184 and its 2016 revised IRR, including the generic procurement manual and associated issuances, constitute the primary source for the terms and conditions of the contract and those applicable in contract implementation. Herein clauses shall serve as the secondary source for the terms and conditions of the contract. This is without prejudice to section 74.1 and 74.2 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA number 9184, allowing the GPPB to amend the IRR, which shall be applied to all procurement activities, the advertisement, posting, or invitation of which were issued after the effective date of the said amendment. Sectional completion of work. If sectional completion is specified in the special condition of contract, references in the condition of contract to the works, the completion date, and the intended completion date shall apply to any section of the works. Other than references on the completion date and intended completion date for the whole of the works. Possession of site. The procuring entity shall give possession of all parts of the site to the contractors based on the schedule of delivery indicated in the ECC, which corresponds to the execution of the works. If the contractor suffers delay on incurs cost for failure on the part of the procuring entity to get position in accordance with the terms of this clause, the procuring entity's representative shall give the contractor a contract time extension and certify such sum as fair to cover the cost incurred, which shall be paid by procuring entity. In possession of a portion is not given to the above date, the procuring entity will be deemed to have delayed the start of the relevant activities. The resulting adjustments in contract time to address such delay may be addressed through contract extensions provided under Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of RA number 9184. The contractor's obligation. The contractor shall employ the key personnel named in the schedule of key personnel indicating their designation in accordance with ITB Clause 10.3 and specified in the BDS to carry out the supervision of the works. The procuring entity will approve any proposed replacement of key personnel only if the relevant qualification and abilities are equal to or better than those of the personnel listed in the schedule. Performance security. Within 10 calendar days from receipt of the notice of award from the procuring entity, but in no case later than the signing of the contract by both parties, the successful bidder shall furnish the performance security in any of the firms prescribed in Section 9 of 2016 revised RRR. The contractor, by entering the contract with the procuring entity acknowledges the right of the procuring entity to execute action pursuant to RE number 3688 against any subcontractor, be they an individual, firm, partnership, corporation, or association supplying the contractor with labor, materials, or equipment for the performance of this contract. Site investigation reports. The contractor in preparing the bids shall rely on any site investigation reports referred to in the SCC supplemented by any information obtained by the contractor. Warranty. In case the contractor fails to undertake the repair works under Section 62.2.2 of the 2000 revised IRR, the procuring entity shall forfeit its performance security, subject its properties to attachment organizing proceedings, and perpetually disqualifying it from participating in any public bidding. All payables of the GOP in its favor shall be offset to recover the costs. The warranty against structural defects, failures, except that occasion unforced majeure shall cover the period from the date of issuance of the certificate of final acceptance by the procuring entity. Specific duration of the warranty is found in the ECC. Liability of the contractor. Subject to additional provisions, if any, set forth in the ECC, the contractor's liability under this contract shall be as provided by the laws of the Republic of the Philippines. If the contractor is a joint venture, all partners to the joint venture shall be jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity. Termination for other causes. Contract termination shall be initiated in case it is determined prima facie by the procuring entity that the contractor has engaged before or during the implementation of the contract in unlawful deeds and behaviors relative to contract acquisition and implementation such as, but not limited to corrupt, fraudulent, collusive, coercive, and obstructive practices as stated in ITB Clause 4. Day works. Subject to the guidelines on variation order in Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of the RA number 9184, and if applicable as located in the ECC, the day work rates in the contractor's bid shall be used for small additional amounts of work only when the procuring entity's representative as given written instructions in advance for additional work to be paid for in that way. Program of work. The contractor shall submit to the procuring entities representative for approval the said program of work showing the general methods, arrangements, order, and timing for all the activities in the works. The submission of the program of works are indicated in the ECC. The contractor shall submit to the procuring entities representative for approval an updated program of work at intervals no longer than the period stated in the ECC. If the contractor does not submit an updated program of work within this period, the procuring entity's representative may withhold the amount stated in the ECC from the next payment certificate and continue to withhold this amount until the next payment after the date on which the overdue program of works has been submitted. Instructions, inspections, and audits. The contractor shall permit the GOP or the procuring entity to inspect the contractor's accounts and records relating to the performance of the contractor and to have them audited by the auditors of the GOP or the procuring entities as may be required. Advance payment. The procuring entity shall, upon a written request of the contractor which shall be submitted as a contract document, make an advance payment to the contractor in amount not exceeding 15% of the total contract price, to be made in lump sum or at the most 2 installments according to a schedule specified in the ECC, subject to the requirements in Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of the RA number 9184. Progress payment. The contractor may submit a request for payment for work accomplished. Such request for payment shall be verified and certified by the procuring entity's representative or project engineer. Except as otherwise stipulated in the ECC, materials and equipment delivered to the site but not completely put in place shall not be included for payment. Operating and maintenance manuals. If required, the contractor will provide as-built drawings or operating and maintenance manuals as specified in the SCC. If the contractor does not provide the drawings or manuals by the dates stated above, or they do not receive the procuring entity's representative approval, the procuring entity's representative may withhold the amount stated in the ECC from payments due to the contractor.
Special conditions of contract. Notes on the special conditions of contract. Similar to the BDS, similar to the BDS, the clauses in this section are intended to assist the procuring entity in providing contract-specific information in relation to corresponding clauses in the GCC found in Section 4. The special conditions of contract complement the GCC, specifying contractual requirements linked to the special circumstances of the procuring entity, the procuring entity's country, the sector, and the works procured. In preparing this section, the following aspects should be checked. Information that complements provision of the GCC must be incorporated. Amendments and or supplements to provision of the GCC as necessitated by the circumstances of the specific purchase must also be incorporated. However, no special condition which defeats or negates the general intent and purpose of the provision of the GCC should be incorporated herein. Specifications. Notes on specification. A set of precise and clear specification is a prerequisite for bidders to respond realistically and competitively to the requirements of the procuring entity without qualifying or conditioning their bids. In the context of international competitive bidding, the specification must be drafted to permit the widest possible competition and at the same time present a clear statement of the required standard of workmanship, materials, and performance of the goods and services to be procured. Only if this is done will the objectives of the economy, efficiency, and fairness in procurement be realized. Responsiveness of bids be ensured and the subsequent task of bid evaluation facilitated. The specification should be required that all goods and materials to be incorporated in the works be new and used of the most recent or current model and incorporate all recent improvement in design and materials unless provided otherwise in the contract. Sample and specification from previous similar projects are useful in this respect. The use metric units is mandatory. Most specifications are normally written specially by the procuring entity or its representative to suit the works at hand. There is no standard set of specification for universal application in all sectors in our regions. But there are established principles and practices which are reflected in the PPDs. There are considerable advantages in standardizing general specification for repetitive works in recognized public sectors such as highways, ports, railways, urban housing, irrigation, water supply, in the same country or region where similar conditions prevail. The general specification should cover all classes of workmanship, materials, and equipment commonly involved in construction, although not necessarily to be used in a particular works contract. Deletion or addenda should then adapt the general specification of the particular works. Care must be taken in drafting specification to ensure that they are not restrictive. In the specification of standard for goods, materials, and workmanship, recognized international standards should be used such as much as possible. Where other particular standards are good, whether national standards or other standards, the specification should state that goods, materials, and workmanship that meet other authoritative standards and which ensure substantially equal or higher quality than the standards mentioned will also be acceptable. The following clause may be inserted in the SEC. Sample clause, equivalency of standard and codes. Wherever a reference is made to the contract-specific standard and codes to be met by the goods and materials to be furnished and work performed or tested, the provision of the latest current edition or revision of relevant standard and codes in effect shall apply, unless otherwise expressly stated in the contract. Where such standards and codes are national or relative to a particular country or region, or other authoritative standards that ensure a substantially equal or higher quality than the standards and codes specified will be accepted, subject to the procuring entity's representatives' prior review and written consent. The differences between the standard specified and the proposed alternative standard shall be fully described in writing by the contractor and submitted to the procuring entity's representative at least 28 days prior to the date when the contractors desire the procuring entity's representative consent. In the event the procuring entity's representative determine that such proposed deviation do not ensure substantially general or higher quality, the contractor shall comply with the standard specified in the documents. These notes are intended only as information for the procuring entity or the person drafting these bidding documents. They should not be included in the final bidding documents.
For drawings and bill of quantities, please see the uploaded files on PhilJEP's and DPWH website. These are the documents comprising the bid. Legal documents, PhilJEP's registration, SEC registration, or DTI registration, mayor's permit, and tax clearance. For technical documents requirements, statement of ongoing contracts, statement of bidder's single largest completed contracts, pickup license or special pickup JB license, bid security, organizational chart, list of contractors' major equipment, list of contractors' minimum materials testing equipment, omnibus sworn statement, ITR and financial statement, and FCC computation, valid joint venture agreement if applicable. Financial documents requirements, financial bid form, bill of quantities, detailed estimates including summary sheet, quarterly monthly cash flow, and payment schedule. All documents shall be printed in A4 format, tabbed, and bounded. Please attach the bidding documents in the technical component of your bid. For bids to be submitted electronically online, the following procedures should be observed following DO 87 series of 2020. Number 1, submission of electronic official receipt of purchase of the bidding documents. Number 2, confirmation of the electronically submitted official receipt. Number 3, preparation and submission of an electronic bid. Number 4, modification of an electronic bid. Number 5, non-participation in the bidding. Number 6, withdrawal of electronic bid. Number 7, opening of the electronic bid. Number 8, file name convention in case of a joint venture bidder. Bid opening for 24 GE 0053 and 24 GE 0054 shall be on February 26, 2024, Monday, 9 a.m. at second floor bidding room, DPWH Guimaras District Engineering Office, San Miguel, Hordan, Guimaras. Bids will be opened in the presence of the bidder's representative who choose to attend. Late bids shall not be accepted. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically online. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic. Similar to manual submission, the guidelines for the preparation and submission of an electronic bid are contained in the BDS. Bids must be duly received by the Box Secretariat for manual submission or at electronicbids_guimaras@dpwh.gov.ph for electronic submission on or before February 26, 2024 at 9 a.m. All bids must be accompanied by a bid security in any of the acceptable forms and in the amount stated in ITB Clause 18. Any clarification for the projects? Since there's no clarification, this activity